The color is Passive. The company, Sherwin-Williams. This is Hue Review, so let's review. I'm James and I love to review paint colors, amongst other things on this channel. And today we're reviewing a very subdued choice from Sherwin-Williams. It's called Passive, and what I'm gonna do is I'll give you the vibe of this color. I'll tell you how versatile and usable it is in your home, and then I'll give you my verdict. Whether I would personally use it and how I would use it if I was recommending it to some of you. Also, these are other colors from paint companies that come pretty close to Passive. So if your painter just hates Sherwin-Williams, they're like, no more Emerald. I hate it. I'm going with PPG. Sorry about it. Here are some options from different companies. That way you don't need to go with custom color matching, which I've done a ton of, and it's great, but at least with these, you have color chips you can take home with you. Today's sponsor is us. ThePaintPeople.com is your go-to destination for quality paint and paint supplies. Whether you're a do-it-yourself enthusiast or a professional painter, we have everything you need to make your project a success. Visit our website today and discover a world of colors, quality, and convenience. And as a thank you for supporting us on YouTube, use coupon code JAMES5 for 5% off your order. So let's get into it. What's the vibe here? Passive, super relaxed color, super nonchalant. I mean, it's in the name. It is a very popular color, I think, for the fact that it is so passive. It's so relaxed. Extremely neutral is the word. For what it's worth, it's been featured in a number of different color collections by Sherwin-Williams that were curated. I think because a lot of people want something that feels very much middle of the road, not going to offend anyone, but dare I say, this might be slightly offensive to my graders watching, because I do think Passive at its core is very gray leaning. There feels to be a little bit of brown mixed in. It kind of has this slight taupe lean to it, but I think the gray is what really comes to the forefront here. Even with that touch of brown, it's not enough to make this color feel very warm. It is a cooler leaning gray at the end of the day. It also has a 60 LRV, which is actually kind of a nice thing in terms of interior walls, and that's maybe one of the reasons that it is so popular, because it does have a decent amount of light reflection to it. So any light that does come into that space, painted with Passive, it will reflect 60% of the light back at you, which is kind of nice. That cooler leaning aspect means this is more of a transitional color rather than something that's more traditional. My wife is calling me. Can you guess where she's from?
They're about to get a proper Scottish welcome.
So because this is a cool leaning gray, this is not going to be a good choice or a first option for a more traditional home or a more rustic feeling, warm leaning vibe. This is more transitional in nature, a little more contemporary, modern, but also somewhat relaxed. Like, even though it's cool, it's not frigid, it's not a blue, although there might be a little bit of a blue coming through depending on your lighting, so just be aware of that. How versatile is Passive as a paint color? I would probably give this color a B+, believe it or not. Even though it is kind of cooler leaning, and yes, the trends of today do favor the warm side of things typically, I think for the fact that this color is so muted in how it's composed, and it has a decent amount of depth to it. It's sitting at a 60 LRV, which does put it at like a perfect range for an interior wall color. If you just wanted something that's not too light, not too dark, also definitely not too warm, and maybe not too cold, but there is some of that coolness to it. This is kind of one of those great options. Exterior wise too, pretty solid choice, I would say. It may look a little more cooler. That slight touch of a blue undertone might be more prominent outside because of the sun. That might be a little unexpected, but overall, I would say this color has some great flexibility to it. So what's my verdict? How would I use this color, let's say, theoretically, in my home? If we bring up the palette pyramid, I would probably plop this as a main color right at the top. Passive is a choice that I think would work throughout a home if you really needed it to. If you wanted one paint color and you wanted to go something that was more gray, a bit more muted, desaturated, this is going to be one of the better choices in the Sherwin-Williams catalog. So that's how I would use it. But would I?
No, I wouldn't.
I don't think so. I think this color, to me, it's great as just blanketing a space with a gray, but I don't see myself doing that. My main colors tend to be a little more warm leaning, and if I did want to go gray, I would probably go with something a little bit darker to have more of a statement. This color just sort of sits in the messy middle of choices that would be okay, but not ideal. Now, before you go, if you wanted some color pairings that are kind of similar in vibe, but just give you different levels of depth, Ceiling Bright White would be my off-white choice here if you wanted a white trim color to go with it. Or if you wanted to go with a darker color, I would probably recommend Gray Matters, although it is more on the cool side of things. Maybe has a touch more of a cool bluey green aspect, but well within the same family of colors. Could be a great replacement if you wanted something that was on the darker end of mid-tone, around a 39 LRV. So there's another option for you. And that's a review. If you want to see a passive themed color palette at the end of this week, let me know in the down below. And here's another video for you.